Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be doing a Nasus top guide as he's being buffed for 13.12 and he is a strong candidate for one of the best champs to hit masters with. So definitely try him out. I'm going to go over the builds. I've shown the buffs on screen here. His passive lifesteal is going to go from 9 to 19% to 11 to 21%. This is fairly minor, but it's still a nice buff for him, and his R cooldown is going to go from 120 to 120 to 80, which is also a really nice buff. We've seen it do a lot for champs like Renekton, and Nasus will also benefit a lot from a buff like this. So let's get into it. Rune wise, you're really going to only be taking this page. You can run things like Phase Rush and Spellbook in very niche cases, but for the most part, Fleet and this kind of setup is what you're going to run. It's fairly easy to remember. You can run it into most matchups with strong amounts of success. So Triumph or Overheal, depending on how strong Overheal comes out next patch, it is being changed to 11% max HP, which will benefit champs like Nasus, definitely, and Triumph being nerfed not too long ago. There is a definite case that Overheal becomes the optimal sub-rune to take here. Tenacity, you're not really going to see anything other than Tenacity. Into comps where you don't see like any CC, then you can opt into Alacrity, but for the most part, Tenacity is really, really strong. Nasus, you're not going to go Marks, as you are very bound to Lucidities as a champion. Last Stand, you're fighting a lot of the time on low health, and it has a lot of value for Juggernauts like Nasus. Second Wind gives you the sustain you need during laning phase. It's really valuable. Unflinching, once again, Tenacity, really valuable on this champion. And then CDR, you want to get as many stacks in early game and just in general across the game. Along with double resists in runes, you don't really need to take health and you don't really need to take adaptive. You just mainly want to opt into being as resistant to your lane opponent as possible. So there is a chance you would take armor, magic resist, double armor, double magic resist. There is options there. For items, you're not really going to go anything other than Triforce. Frostfire has value into only AD comps, but I'd still opt into Triforce. It is just a very strong item in its current state. You wouldn't really go Divine Sundara. That has also been nerfed, and it was kind of both Triforce and Sundara have kind of Triforce has been buffed, Sundara has been nerfed, and it's just made Triforce significantly better as an option. D-Shield is going to be your start. I'm not going to cover the Everfrost build here because I don't like it that much. I don't think it's the playstyle you're going to want to choose if you're trying to hit Masters with this champion, so I would avoid it for the most part. But yeah, D-Shield, really strong item to start off the game with, and then you want to go Triforce, Lucidities, Gargoyles or Frozen Heart. Both of these items have really good value. Frozen Heart into a lot of AD champions, Gargoyles into like AP laners, and you just value the shield quite heavily into a lot of burst. Spirits really synergizes with your kit, increased life still as well. Getting value out of that Gargoyle shield alongside just a nice amount of resists. Deadman's nice item for chase. It has a good amount of damage tied to it. Pretty cheap as well. Good armor item. Full mail into lots of healing comps. You can go Hullbreaker. It is an option on Nasus, but as you go towards Hullbreaker stacks, these are going to be items you're less likely to buy during the game. And Fawn is a good option. It has been nerfed and it's not as strong as Spirits, but into those very heavy AP spellcaster comps, you can of course go Force of Nature. But Asterix, it can be valued for the shield, synergizing with things like Gargoyles and Switch quite nicely. And yeah, Hullbreaker for the split push if you're really needing to be on side lanes, taking pressure off your team, securing objectives, things like that. Ghost TP is going to be the main thing you run, but Flash Ghost does have value if you're not strong at using TP and you don't really know where to find the TP angles. But yeah, Ghost TP, Flash Ghost, you can run Flash TP. It is the weakest of the trio of options, but yeah, for the most part, you're going to run Ghost TP. QWER, you're not going to deviate off this path. E over W doesn't have anywhere near as much value as it used to. W's value really comes in like this very ADC heavy carry meta which we're in. And E, valuable for the shred, but you're only really gonna ever E-max if you have a very heavy AD comp and maybe they don't have an ADC and they're running something like a Karthus. That might be times where you do take E over W. Moving on to the playstyle and matchups. Pre-6, you are going to look to respect your opponent's champ. Whatever their champ's like you just have to understand how the champion functions pre-6, and if they have kill threat on you, or whether they're going to heavily trade into you, because you really just want to get the XP, sustain through laning phase, get some early stacks. That is where you're really strong. That is where you really want to build up so you can get strong. And then you want to look to back onto Sheen and Lucidities. This pair of items is really, really strong in Nasus. Lucidity is valuable for the haste and the chase. Sheen valuable for the damage on the Q, and synergizes quite well with it. Once you have these items at level 6, you can look to go all in on most champions, as you will just out-trade them into certain champs, like maybe Darius and Olaf. Those are two of your bad matchups. They can kind of fight back against your level 6, as they also have really strong level 6s and do a lot of raw damage. Shen, really good at nullifying you and having a lot of map pressure. Kled, the anti-heal combined with really high damage. And then Garen, really, really strong amount of damage combined with the R execute, can be really powerful into you. So these are kind of things you want to be aware of, but it's a case of once you've learned the matchups, you can kind of understand where the weakest points are and punish them at those points. Make sure you're tracking enemy jungle though. That is a really cool thing to do on Nasus, because if you take bad fights where enemy is able to gank you and put you behind, then it can really hurt your ability to do a lot during the mid game. So yeah, just keep that in mind. As a champ, you do fall off later. It's kind of Nasus being a all-winning scaling champion is kind of false news. You are, at the end of the day, a melee champion, and you will be killed by most ranged champs if you can't get within wither range towards the later stages of the game. So I'd say your strongest points are definitely between the 20 to 30 minute game length, a bit more than that, maybe like 35 minute, but like once you go on past that, you don't get as much value out of your stacks, as you will begin to get diminishing returns, and you will just fall victim to higher range comps, and you can just be bursted down. So that's all things you've got to be aware of. But your mid game is where you really shine at 2, 3, 4 items. You are very much able to 1v9 on this champion. Making sure you wither ADCs is a very valuable thing to do during these fights, as it can really hurt their ability to output a lot of damage. Yeah, these are all very crucial things on Nasus. Yeah, alongside that, that's kind of most of what you need to know. Overall, this champ should be in a really strong spot next patch. Making sure you are going the Triforce over the Divine Sundara, it has a lot of value. Divine Sundara, yeah, once again, nowhere near as strong as it used to be. I wouldn't even go as far to say nowhere near as strong as it used to be. It's still a not bad item, just Triforce got buffed in such a way that it now really shines, and Triforce was always a really good item on Nasus, and I talked about this in my 5 champs, which are definitely going to be strong during mid-season. So it's very much surprising that they are buffing this champion, but yeah, we'll have a lot of value. The ult CD going down to 80 seconds late game might allow you to rotate it twice. There is a chance that building more haste so you can rotate the ultimate twice might be optimal, in which case you might see changes towards the later part of the builds where you're maybe picking up an anathema's chains that might have value. But yeah, for the most part, this is going to be your core build. You're not really going to deviate off your core build. Your rune page is also going to be fairly standard. It's a case of into maybe things like Darius, Olaf, and Garen, but you have to run something like Phase Rush to, if you are very much forced into playing safe, but you are less likely to be punished in the I'd say gold to or low diamond range. You are not going to really be as punished heavily by these champions, but when people understand your weakest points and try and punish you for that, then Phase Rush can mitigate the chances of you being just straight up all in, as you can just disengage and run away from that. So yeah, overall, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.